question 5. So as usual, you've got a download which has some notes on it, but we're going to just work through the questions and try explain it using the questions because it's always useful to do so. So if you'd like, download the document, try the questions, then work through them with me. Okay, so we're first going to start off by looking at expanding. So when we expand, it means everything in the first bracket is multiplied by the second bracket. There are lots of ways you may have done this. You may have done sort of like a smiley face. You might have used a grid method. The way I think is because single brackets are easier to multiply is to do it using single brackets. So essentially what I'm saying is I have x multiplied by the whole of this. So I've got x multiplied by x minus 1. And then I've got plus 4 also multiplied by x minus 1. And then I can open out the brackets. So I get x squared minus x plus 4x minus 4. Put together the x's, 4x minus x gives me plus 3x minus 4. You may also have learnt it, and I'll do it once like this, by doing this times this to give you x squared, that times that to give you minus 4, plus 4x, minus x. So you've got, inside, outside, outside, and you end up at the same point. I just think when you do single brackets, you're less likely to get it wrong. So we've got x multiplied by the whole of x minus 3, plus 5 multiplied by the whole of x minus 3, to give us x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 15. Let's combine the x's. We've got 5x minus 3x, which is plus 2x minus 15. Okay. Now we've got a simplify. So when we see quadratic, simplify. Quadratic, by the way, means when you've got x to the power of 2. That's called a quadratic. You're going to end up with like a smiley face if it's positive or a sad face if it's negative. So we've got x squared. The minute we see that, we think, okay, we need 2 brackets. Okay. And how are we going to go about doing that? So the way that I would do it is I'd look at the 6 and I'd say, what are my factors of 6? I've got 6 and 1. I've got 3 and 2. And those are it, really. And I want to end up with plus x. So I'm like, oh, well, if I do 3 minus 2, I get 1. So I'm going to replace this x with, so I'm going to replace this x here with plus 3x minus 2x, because that gives me 1x minus 6. Then I take the first 2 and I factorize them. So, well, I can take x outside the bracket. I get x plus 3, which means I need another x plus 3. So I'm like, how do I get minus 2x? I need minus 2. Does it work for the minus 6? Yes. So now I have my 2 brackets, x plus 3, x minus 2 equals 0. And if you ever have to solve it, it means either one bracket equals 0 or the other bracket equals 0. So x plus 3 equals 0 or x minus 2 equals 0, leaving you with x equals minus 3 or x equals 2. So that's rearranging it and moving it to the other side. Okay. We have quadratics that are a bit special. That it's called the difference of 2 squares. Now, word difference, your brain should go take away, has to have a takeaway sign. The first thing has to be a square number, and so does the other thing. So you may see it as a squared minus b squared, a plus b, a minus b. And if you recognise you've got 2 things and they're telling you to do something with it, and you're like, can't take anything out of the bracket, can't put it into 2 brackets, can I? Well, you can, because this is like your a, and you have to take the square root of 9, which is 3, is like your b. So you get x plus 3, x minus 3. And let's see why that works. So I was going to open out the brackets. So I'd have x times by x minus 3. So that one times by all of that, and then that times by all of that. And I open it out, I get x squared minus 3x plus 3x minus 9. So can you see the 2 middle ones cancel out? And that's why you can use completing the square. Okay, we've got one last one to factorize. Let's have a look at this. So we've got 2 now at the end. So we're like 2 and 1, nice and easy. We want to end up with 1, which is just 2 minus 1. So we've got x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2. What can I take outside the bracket of the first 2? I can take x outside. And I want x plus 2 again. That needs to be minus 1. So I get x plus 2, x minus 1. There are lots of other ways to factorize. I've described one of them above in the notes. If you want to use that, you can use that. This is just an example. But typically, in the foundation paper, this isn't something that gets tested a lot. You will have more questions like the exam questions we're about to look at. So there we go. We've got a quadratic curve. So we've got a smiley face. And they've asked us to find the coordinates of the turning point. So exactly as the name suggests, the turning point is where the graph turns. And it wants the x coordinate, so we go up to the x-axis. It's 1, so the answer to that is 1. Okay, what's wrong with this graph? Well, compare it to this graph. So here we had a beautiful curve. Whereas here, we've got it's all just like lots of lines. So you'd have to say the points should be joined with a smooth curve. So, and you could say it's wrong because it's disjointed, anything like that. Okay, we've now got a table to complete. So you can either use your calculator where you go menu. Let me just grab it so I can talk you through it. So we're just going to use the regular ClassWiz 83 GTX. So you're going to go to menu and you get 1 is calculate, 2 is statistics. You're going to choose 3, which says table. And then you get FX come up. If you press alpha and the closed bracket, you get an X. And then you can use that X to type in this formula. And you might get something that says GX come up, just pick a random number. GX is 1. And then it says, what's your table range? So if you have a look here, we start at -3 and we end at 3 and we're going in steps of 1. And what it will do is it will give you your values. And you can check with the values they've given you to whether you've done it correctly in your calculator. Now that's if it's a calculator paper. If not, we're going to calculate by substituting the numbers in, just using our basic algebra. So I won't do all of them, but I'll pick 1 or 2, which are a bit, so let's pick -2. So we're going to say -2 squared minus -2 minus 6. Now -2 squared means -2 times -2, which is 4. Minus and a minus make a plus. So we're going to get +2 minus 6. So we'll get 6 minus 6, so we get 0, which is the value we have there. And now we can plot them. So we've got -3 and 6, which is up here. -2 and 0. -1 and -4. 0 minus 6. 1 is also -6. 2 minus 4. So because you've got 2 points at the bottom there, remember we're going to get a curve. So the turning point must be somewhere between these 2 points. Okay, that's my curve's not beautiful, but your curve will hopefully go through all the points and look a lot more beautiful than mine. Right, so we go through the same process. This is almost exactly the same. So we're going to stick this into either stick it in your calculator or we're going to calculate it. So we get -2 squared minus 5, which is 4 minus 5, which is going to give you -1. You've got 2 squared, which is 4, again, minus 5, also going to give you -1. 3 squared, which is 9, minus 5, which is going to give you 4. So that's going to give you 4 over here, and then 11. So we've got -2, -2, -1, -1, -4, 0, oh, I need to scroll up a little bit, 0, -5, 1, -4, 2, -1, 3, 4, and 4, 11. So if I join that up with a curve, I get something like that. Okay, last few questions. Factorize. Now remember, factorizing, taking out the common factors. So 24 and 20. What goes into both of those? Well, 4 goes into both. And into 24 will be 6. And if I did it like this, so I say 6y squared minus 5y, that's not complete. That would only get you 1 mark. Because what you could have taken out as well is obviously the y. So then you'd get 6y minus 5. And this last question tests something a little bit interesting. So, you know, if we did above, we had minus 2 squared. And we said, well, that's the same as minus 2 times minus 2. Oh, this doesn't look like an equal sign. Which minus and a minus make a plus, which is 4. Now, if I gave you 2 squared, well, that's also 4. So if I was to take the square root of 4, I could get 2, or I could get minus 2. So whenever you take the square root, which is what we're going to do here, you can get plus or minus. So your calculator will tell you that's 14, and your 2 answers are then 14, and you could get minus 14. Okay, so this was quite a quick session. We've got the next chapter, which is on sequences and nth terms, which are gift questions. We'll be looking at those tomorrow. Hope this has been useful. Leave any comments, ask any questions, maybe join the Discord, ask somebody else in there. And if there's anything more that I can help with, please let me know.